Hey everybody, it's AKK's Active Views. We are back again with another video, and guys, today is All American, season 4, episode, this would be episode, what's tonight's episode? Episode 7, Prom Night. Guys, this was a really crazy episode, as we all know from, last week's previous episode, with everything going on with the promo leading into prom night, on the fact of we didn't know who the 911 call was being called upon for. I was very concerned for Coop. I thought my Coop speculations is, oh my god, it could be Coop's heart. We all know or Coop's lungs. We all know there's some stuff that's wrong with Coop's lungs. Was that the reason that 911 was called? What was the big holy shit moment in this episode? We have a couple of holy shit moments that makes me wonder what could we possibly be getting in the next episode for episode 8. We have a ton of crazy things going on in this episode where it's like prom night. As we all know, Jordan doesn't have Simone with him, and because Simone went off to call to a meet. That this makes her shoe in for Brixton and stuff. So she apparently is doing her meets right now. She couldn't be at prom, and as we all know today, I found out that we got our official trailer for All American Homecoming, and that will give us more of an insight maybe on that send-off that, Jordan gave to Simone. Maybe we'll see that in the trailer, where she goes off to go do the tennis competitions, or maybe, I'm not sure, or maybe, I don't know, but maybe that ties into what we didn't see Jordan sending her off, or maybe she went off to Brixton earlier. I don't know. I'll know more because I'm going to be doing a trailer reaction to that after this, review for All American Season 4, Episode 7, Prom Night. So we'll know a little bit more about Simone going into that, All American Homecoming series, which I'm super excited for. I love how that's connected to All American. That's going to be very interesting. Like I said in previous, episode reviews, that it's going to be very awesome to see them cross over with one of them. It's going to get a lot of tension and a lot of cool elements, and we're going to see characters cross over, which I'm going to love. But that's what Jordan's going through. He's kind of like prommed out. He's like, I don't really care. He's one of the people that just isn't all into doing prom. And we see that through this episode that, I feel like he feels like something is missing. He feels like the night that he wanted to have is gone, and he's like, it's like pointless at this point. He feels like that. And we see a little bit more of Layla in him, which, as I said, I know that I was afraid of this because, as we all know that I've been saying this, they set up Damon in All American Homecoming to be Simone's new love interest when she goes off to college. And I was agreeing with everybody. I want this to be true, everybody. Like, I've been saying this, like everybody else has been saying this, that, they're going to stay together. They're going to be okay. I want that for them. But I knew when the writers were setting up that character and setting up Damon, talking to Simone when she went to the campus trying to look at Brixton, that they were setting up her new love interest, because once I knew she was going to that show. So I'm calling it now. She's going to be dating Damon, and what's going to be happening is that looks like Jordan's a little jealous in this episode and we see a little bit more of Jordan clicking, maybe thinking there could possibly be something between him and Layla, and I've been seeing that for the past couple of episodes, and I think also in last season, we saw that a little bit, or maybe it was just this season, but I'm telling you, I see them having a connection. And I saw that, I think, at the night of, I forget what episode, what it was exactly. I want to say it was at some, maybe it was at the cotillion or whatever, or like, the thing that Spencer went to with Olivia, and then I think Jordan was with, Layla. I think it was that, if I'm correct. And that's when it first started. But there's a connection they have, clearly. And he's jealous because there was a producer that ends up being at, the school at the prom night. And I guess he's the other producer, and he wants to work together with Layla. And Layla's turning him down. But then Layla ends up, leaving the prom and ends up actually doing some, a sesh together. And then Jordan sees that, and you can tell he's a little bit jealous. And I'm telling you, they're doing that. They're setting up his character where, I saw that, them setting up the foreground of, okay, Simone is leaving. I know what they were trying to do there. But I was like, okay, maybe I'm just overthinking things. But I'm like, I really feel like that's what they're trying to do, and I hope that's not what they're doing. And then when I saw Layla and Jordan getting a little bit closer, I'm like, oh my god, I think that's what they're trying to set up. They're, him to be with Layla and her to be with Damon. I'm like, some crap is going down. It's going down. So in this episode, I feel like that's what I got in this episode. That's what we're going to be going for in the rest of the season. Maybe him realizing that, he actually likes Layla and there might be something there, because they look like they were about to kiss in that one point when she's like, oh, I understand you probably want to, leave the, he's like, oh, Simone won 2, matches. And he's like, oh, you were about to leave, weren't you? He's like, yeah, I was about to leave. And she's like, well, you can't leave without, giving me this dance. And he's like, are you really asking me to dance? She's like, just get up before I regret it. And, and he's like, she's like, well, Jordan was like, oh, I saw that dude leaning in. What's with that guy? Like, he shows like he's caring, and there's more to it than, oh, you're a friend, you're a bud. He clearly likes her, and I feel like he's finally realizing that. I feel like that's what the writers are trying to show us. Because remember, him and Layla were good friends because Olivia was good friends with Layla, and like, it makes sense that he kind of grew up with Layla, so maybe he kind of always had feelings for her, and he's finally realizing that now. And that's very interesting to me to see that. And I'm wondering if that's where we're going to go. It's very curious to me if that's where we're leading into, because it kind of seems like that's what where our characters are going. So that's what's going on with there. And the reason that Jordan is even at it's crazy, because what ends up happening in this episode is that the gymnasium gets flooded in Beverly, and that's a whole big holy shit moment on how that happens. And I was like, oh my god, this could lead into a whole bunch of different problems later down the line in the season. And at this point, Chris is the head of the committee, of the prom committee over in, South Crenshaw, and he's putting all of the things together. And Spencer wants to, combine proms together with Beverly and South Crenshaw, but have it at South Crenshaw's thing, but also have a catering service from the coffee house or whatever that they get, it's the Spencer James sandwich. He's like, oh, we don't need your bootleg sandwiches or whatever. I thought that was funny when he said that, we don't need your bootleg sandwiches. And he's like, but, they can do that. So you're saying we don't have enough food, but they said that they would offer the cater, and it's not fair that we can't have a prom, just because of some flood. And I thought it was the storm that maybe they had, or there was a storm that they had that made the flooding. But it turns out in this episode that there was a big holy shit moment, along with some other crazy things, that the flood happened because of Jaubrey ended up taking the statue, because earlier in the episode they end up, I guess that there's like a tradition where the team gets something to represent them for the next generation, and they didn't want it to be some crappy hats that the old generation had. They wanted it to be something special. And Jaubrey ends up taking the Beverly Eagles trophy that clearly they didn't win, but they won. They won, and ends up stealing it. And that makes a whole big issue, because Jaubrey and the other teammates are the reason that there was a flood in Beverly, in the Beverly High School. So that's a big problem, the fact of that when they're for breaking and entering and damaging. So at this point, Spencer is taking the fall for all that, and there's a chance he could get expelled. And as we all know, graduation's around the corner. It's prom. Graduation's around the corner, and this can also affect his scholarship. So there's a lot of things that this could screw up if Spencer doesn't just tell everybody like who's responsible. But Spencer's not the dude. In this episode, we really focus on Olivia and Spencer being the heroes as they are, being the person that always steps in, and they never really think about themselves and how they could affect them. They always think about other people, and they always put other people in front of them and take care of them first. They put other people, they care about other people before they care about themselves, and we really see that with these characters. And literally, it's funny because Billy, and also Principal Carter and the coach of or I guess the principal of Beverly were all like, yo, like, you could get in trouble. We know you didn't do this, but who of your teammates did it? You can't take the fall for this. But he's taking the fall, saying it was me alone. I did this, and it's going to affect him. And I'm excited to see where that's going to go going forward if he keeps that. We didn't get any next week's episode 8 promos, nothing. So I'm curious to know. We probably won't get another episode until after Christmas break. So I'm just excited to see where we're going to be going with that. Also, I'm excited to know where, Olivia is going to be going with, how she's a sponsor for, for the new girl that, does ballet. I forget her name. She's a new character. Sometimes I'm terrible with names. So let me know down in the comments below what that girl's name is. But, she is kind of ignoring her sobriety, and she's not taking it seriously. And Olivia's just have it saying, I can't be here for you. I can't, you can't you can't fix this problem if you're making your sobriety sound like it's not a big deal. And you're pushing yourself hard, and you're just gonna push yourself into more drugs. You really need to be smart about this. You need to admit to yourself you need help. You need to do that. That's the next big step. And we see her do that. She ends up breaking down, ends up showing up to the high school of South Crenshaw and says, I need help. I felt like I was spinning around. I felt like, my heart was racing. I didn't know what was going on. And I thought for sure, right when I saw her, I'm like, oh my God, that's the person they call 911 on. I was waiting for her to collapse on the ground when she was talking to Olivia and Spencer was there. I was like, oh my God, something bad going to happen. But it turns out that was not the case. In this episode, it was really, and it should have really, this should have popped out to me that I knew that this episode, it was about this one person that we really focus on. We end up focusing on, Uncle Willie, Billy's father. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, as it went on, we really focused on Billy's father not remembering the time where, Billy went off to, his prom. And, at this point, Billy wants his father to relive, what his experience was, but be the father kind of for Jordan and have him be relive that time, but also be able to be a chaperone. And it's funny because the best moments of this episode was when, Uncle Willie and, Denise were on the dance floor and, Denise is twerking on him and, they're like, Uncle Willie's like, hey, I was like, okay, bro. I was like, I see you pulling Denise. I was like, I love how Denise is like, what is with you, Bakerman and stuff, and it was cool seeing, Billy and, Jordan and, Uncle Willie all together, and, they're dancing in the living room getting ready for prom, and just seeing the happy moments with Uncle Willie saying, and tells Billy, I'm proud of you, I love you, this, and that. It's nice to see Uncle Willie really, accept the family and really want to be a part of the family. I feel like that character has grown so much from what we saw him from, season, I think he made his first appearance in season, I want to say 3 or 2. I can't quite remember at the time of my head. It might have been season 2. But from not accepting Billy, blaming Billy for everything and doing all this and, just wanting to coming for money and then leaving and disappearing. And he's grown so much from wanting to be a part of the family and, him having a fun time at the dance. And then the moment that really, I was like, oh no, is the moment where Spencer and Billy end up walking into Billy's office and we just see Uncle Willie collapsed on the table. And here I'm thinking, oh my God, it was about him. I'm like, it made me so sad because you saw how happy he was saying, I'm so proud of you, son, this, and that. And he's really finally starting to get along with his father. And if his father, I think Uncle Willie's dead. And that will be a really heart-wrenching moment to see where Billy's headspace is going to be from, getting everything he wants to going to, Golden Athlete or whatever, going with them to go, teach, to go coach, assistant coach or coach, Jordan and I think he took the job if I'm correct. Maybe he didn't, but going to go coach them over at Golden Athlete with Jordan and Spencer. And then he's leaving at the top, he's at the peak with, Laura and, and Jordan and Olivia. They're all one great big family again. And, Uncle Willie's here and they're all having a blast of a time. And then just Uncle Willie just drops dead. That is going to, and it reminded me of such a foreshadowing of the moment where Spencer walks in to, I always forget, why am I forgetting? It's crazy. I always forget sometimes characters' names, and it's the biggest brain fart. It was a very long day, and I do need to figure out what this one character's name is, and it's killing me. Corey, oh Lord. It really was a foreshadowing to the time where Spencer walked into the James cabin, and Spencer walks in and sees Corey just sitting in his chair, and he's just dead. It was a very foreshadowing of that moment and how it affected Spencer. And things were going well finally with his father, and things were going finally well with, Billy's father, and he just is gone. That's going to be cool to see where, it's going to be interesting to see where Billy's headspace is. And it was very sad to see Uncle Willie die like that. I was not prepared, and Matt explained so much on, call 911, he's like, Dad, and it just ends on the All-American card, title card. And that's interesting to see where this is going to go going forward. Along with, we see, we see Coop and Patience, and Patience is finally finally understanding how much Amina means, how much Amina Coop means to Amina. We really see finally Patience finally realizing how much Coop means to Amina, and that was really cool to see that go down. On she's seeing how much she means, why Coop is doing what she's doing. And that was really nice to see, finally see Patience have an understanding of why she is doing what she's doing. But also, it was nice to see Coop make time also for Patience at prom, and them becoming, prom queen and queen. That was just sick to see that go down. And, especially because Coop, dropped out of high school, and the fact that she was, got to be prom queen, and, and Patience got to be prom queen. That was sick. That was cool. And I was so happy for Coop because, she's been through a lot of struggle, for seasons, you know what I mean? Like, she really has not had a break, and to see her finally, like, she said that, it was a real treasure, I never really liked high school, but it was a real treasure that I got to, make friends, you know what I mean? It was a dream to make friends like this, and all that. That was really sweet to hear Coop say, and she's really living in the moment, and I'm excited to see how this, like, strengthens Coop's and Patience's relationship, but also in the fact of we see finally Amina tells Preach saying what I'm hearing is Coop would do anything for the people that she loves, and Preach is like, yeah, she would, your auntie Coop would do that, anything to for the one she loves. And she's like, then why I don't understand why she would kill my mom. And I was like, oh no. We're at the point now where I don't know where this is going to go, and I do not want it going where someone ends up dying by mistake. That Amina, I just hope she doesn't do anything stupid that she's going to regret, or something's going to happen to one of our characters. I'm just hoping that this can, it's very interesting, but I'm wondering how this is going to get resolved. I'm wondering if it even can get resolved, because I don't know where this could lead. From a little girl's perspective of this girl, this person I think is my best friend, killed my mother, and I'm not getting any explanations, and that can only go one way of tragedy and sadness. I'm wondering where that will go, and mistakes on, I don't know what Amina will do, and it does scare me on the fact of I'm worried about Coop, I'm worried about Preach, I'm worried about Patience, and what bad shit could go down if they really don't address this, and I'm very curious to know how Preach is going to address this, on how he can address it. And it's going to be very interesting to me, because we all know, Coop didn't kill, Mo. Preach did. Preach killed, Amina's mother. So that's going to be interesting to see if maybe he just tells, and maybe Preach goes away, and I don't know what's going to happen. I feel like that's only one way things can go, that Preach might not have that happy ending, and he might be going to prison for good. And that's scary to think of that, but like I'm wondering where is this all going to lead? And that's why I love this show so much. It's like we have so many theories and of what things can happen, and so many things are going on that make us feel like it's good to make us think of, what could this happen? Could this happen? Oh, this is so interesting. Oh, the show keeps us on our toes on all fronts, with all the characters going through their problems, like with Jordan finding out if he likes Layla, and if Simone and him will stay together. Spencer taking the blame for the team and stealing the championship trophy from Beverly, and him taking the fall, and could that affect him going to college, and his scholarship? Could it affect it could affect him being kicked out of school? Billy going through the loss of his father, Uncle Willie. There's just so many things right now, and Coop and Patience and Preach on with Amina, and how that could go down. You know what I mean? It's just so many things are so well done with all these characters going through their all problems, but they all come together at some point in a way. I love that so much. This show is so pure genius. We're on season 4 and they're killing it. Let's just take a round of applause to the cast, the crew, the directors, the writers, everybody involved with this show. You guys are just awesome. You guys really keep us on our feet. You guys really make us want more. And I'm excited to see where All-American Homecoming goes, the first season of that. I'm excited to see where we go for season 5 of All-American. It's just going to get crazy, honestly. It gets crazier and crazier every year. They come up with, very unique, different problems every year. And it's cool to see what they come up with every year. So It's going to also be interesting to me because Asher ends up meeting a new girl in this episode, and he ends up, like, like, not going to prom because this one girl, like, sticks his neck out for him, this one person that was his waitress, and he's like, oh, yeah, I'm his date, and, he ends up, pretty much getting a girlfriend, it seems like, or, like, that's what I'm understanding. He's going to be, like, because they kissed at the end of this episode, and they do have a connection because she used to have a connection with swimming. And since how Asher used to have a connection with football, and I'm thinking maybe she did something that maybe affected her swimming, same as how Asher did something that affected his football and his career with football. So I'm already seeing parallels of that might be something that Asher is. I'm happy that Asher's open to finding stuff that other than football, open to finding love, opening to finding what life holds for him, opening to find out what makes him happy. And I'm excited. I'm really happy where Asher's going. Especially, I'm really happy that Asher and Coop became great friends. And that really made me happy when, Coop ends up sending the picture of her becoming, of her and, Patience becoming, prom, queen and queen. So that was really cool to see that go down and to see him all happy saying, oh, it's just a friend. And you know what I mean? And just that made me very happy to see how, Asher for the first time is in a great place, and I'm excited to see where he goes, going forward, going into next season, and by the end of the season. But I just love what's going on, guys, with this series. And then, of course, the moment I loved also was when Principal Carter and Grace were dancing on the dance floor, and then Spencer's looking at Principal Carter like, don't touch my mom like that. I was like, that was funny. And then the moment where, Spencer and Olivia are dancing, and then we see Billy's face, like, no. It made me laugh, and then the Laura had to go over, like, to grab him, to hug him, like, settle down. I thought that was very funny, just that cool moment where everybody's dancing, having a great time. I love this show so much. It makes you feel like you're a part of the family. It makes you feel like you're a part of the show. Like, that's what they invite you in. Like, it feels close to you. The characters feel close to you. You feel like you know the characters. And not so many shows can do that. And the ones that can do that are the special shows. And All-American is a special show that I feel like will be talked about for a very, very long time, even after years to come. When this is over, I feel like we're all going to talk about this. We're all going to reminisce about this. And this show leaves a mark on the world. And makes everybody want to come together and just, treat each and every one of us with, respect and help each other out. And just, it makes you just want to, you feel like you're a part of something bigger. And I just love this show and the feeling it gives me when I watch it. But guys, that was a video, that was a review of, All-American, season 4, episode 7 called Prom Night. Again, I really, really enjoyed this episode. I'm really excited to see, after we're back from winter break, to see where we're going to be going with the events after this episode, because I'm telling you guys, things are about to go down, and I'm excited to see what is going to happen with Spencer. I'm excited to see where Billy's going to be going after Uncle Willie's death, because I think he is dead, and I'm interested to see, of course, where Olivia and her how Olivia's sponsoring will go with that girl. Again, I forget her name. I can't find her in IMDb. And I'm just excited to see, will Jordan stay with Simone? And will my theory be correct of, will my theory be correct of Simone leaving, dating Damon, and my theory being about Layla and Jordan getting together? I think that's a possible thing that might definitely happen. Again, it's a theory. At the end of the day, I would love if Simone and Jordan stay together, but I feel like they wouldn't set up Damon and, him flirting with Simone and setting up, Jordan almost leaning in for a kiss with Layla and them having that chemistry. Things are getting spicy on the show, and I'm interested to see how things will go. But guys, that was the video. Again, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel, post notifications, like this video. I would love to have you guys here, part of this family here on this channel. We're all about spreading love, positivity, and motivation. Guys, we're almost to 500 subs, guys. So again, if you're new to the channel, come join this family. I'd love to have you guys here. And also, guys, stay tuned. Again, subscribe to the channel, post notifications, and like this video, because after I'm done doing this, I'm going to be reacting to the first trailer for All-American Homecoming, and we'll see where we'll see what Simone's up to in Brixton. But that was it, guys, for the video. I hope everybody has a great day, a safe day. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.